gonna send this to you right now. Hey guys, thank you for joining. I think we're live now. Yeah, we're live. I guess I better bring the chat up.
Yeah,
we're just talking for a little bit here and we forgot all about hitting the live button.
It's all Jimmy's fault.
It's all my fault. Well, wait till you hear the video I'm getting ready to make. I'm in the process of editing it right now. I'll have it uploaded tonight and have it ready for tomorrow.
Oh,
I tell everybody how much I hate you.
Can't wait.
I tell everybody how much I hate Calvin Witt.
It's a given that you don't like me, so, you know, big whoop in that department.
No, you remember you made the comment to me about, well, you know, that's a volcano, and volcanoes, you know, you're not supposed to be like printing like 0.1 layer height. That's probably what your issue is. I know everything. Oh my God. You know how you do that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is 0.2 layer height. Come on. There we go. Okay, yeah. See the little steeple right here?
Yeah.
Didn't print. This one down here looks, man. There we go. That one looks all right. Print quality, you know, 0.1 layer height looks pretty good. But see the walls back here? So you start seeing layer lines, and then look at the back. Layer lines look crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Calvin, get ready. Here you go. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what you've been waiting for. Look at the steeple. Steeple looks good. This one back there looks good. Notice the walls. You don't see as much of the layer line, right?
Right.
Wait for it. Wait for it. I hate you, Calvin. I hate you so much. Look at that. You can't get any better. That's 0.2 layer height. This is 0.1. This is 0.1. This is 0.2. Why? I don't understand this. All I know, though, is I got a really good nozzle on that machine now. So, nanner. At this point, I don't care. It's a nice nozzle. You know, I don't begrudge paying $14.99 for a nozzle because I know that nozzle is a quality nozzle.
Yeah. So. Well, the advantage, though, like I've said, of having a nozzle like that is obviously the fact that it'll give you the ability to run really nasty filaments and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
everybody's going to say, "Oh, well, I've got all total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those prints. I tried it 5 different times. I tried it 4 times with the same STL file and kept getting the layer lines. No matter what adjustments I made, no matter how I tightened things up, readjusted stuff, same thing. As soon as I switch it to 0.2 layer height, it's like, man.
I say.
Go ahead, Calvin. Go ahead. Say it. Go ahead.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead and say it.
I'm just going to sit here and bask in my ring light glory that is clipped to my laptop right now. And yes, I do have a dimmer, so I can totally blow it out if I want to.
Oh, I get first off, let's go in here and say hi to everybody. I see we got Aaron. Aaron is in the house. Jordan, thank you for joining. Theory, thank you once again for joining, my friend. My goodness, Mr. Carol Sinison is in the house. Eddie, what's up, my friend? Man, they're all in here. And Eddie says, Jimmy has an STL. Oh, okay, hang on here. Last night, Jeff posted that if anybody come up with a shirt, they're going to make bank. Let's see. T-Public. I wanted to T-Public last night. I did this all from my cell phone too.
And I got to admit, when I have some money floating around from some print jobs and things like that, I am totally getting one of those T-shirts and wearing it in video.
No, you won't. Come on.
Yes, I will.
It's such a bad joke. It's so horrible.
Oh, I'm gonna totally wear it in my Flaming Noobs video.
You know what? I never added it to my TeePublic store. I've got it on TeePublic, but I never added it to the store.
How could you have not added that piece of awesomeness to your store, sir?
I don't know. I got to figure out how to do it. I haven't been on TeePublic in so long.
You need to fix that, you know.
Yeah, I know. Actually, let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Let's see. Edit my store. Go ahead and talk. Let's I just gotta figure out how to add stuff to my store.
There's just, I mean, I just don't know what to say though. I mean, it's like I'm still sitting here basking in my ring light glory.
Well, anyway, if anybody's interested in a really bad T-shirt, I just put a link to it in the video into the chat there, so that everybody can take a look at what a horrible shirt I came up with. Because STL, bro.
Seriously though.
What's up?
Seriously though, I mean, I'm not even kidding. How many people? Literally, I mean, sometimes I would just say it as a joke, be like, you know, people would jokingly be like, "Oh, you got the STL," but no, I mean, people literally on pages and whatnot would literally just sit there and be like, "You got an STL file for that?" And it's like, seriously, come on, get a life.
Now, I really thought about getting hold of Daniel Norrie to see if he'd join, but I knew this was going to be pretty early in the morning for him. You know, I even thought about trying to see if Angus would like to come on here. But we've got to have a talk. It's time. It's time we have a talk. Are you ready? There's something that the community wants to talk to you about, you know, and it's time. You do a lot of 3D printing, right? You do a lot of designing and 3D printing. It's time that you give up the imperial ways. It's time to step away from the imperial army. And it's time to join the metric club.
I thought this had to do with me going into the closet to check on my printers. I thought this had to do with some female co-host on my show. No, it has to do with the units I design in. Oh my gosh, you guys are horrible. How dare you?
Come on,
how dare you attack me?
Let's talk about this, because you go and you give out instructions to people about how to set their E-steps in inches. WTF, Calvin? WTF?
Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do.
So what is the true calculation for figuring out E-steps in metric?
I think it's all the same depending upon how you do it. It's just the distance covered.
Do we go by 15/16 like Eddie's saying, or do we go by 100 millimeters, 20 millimeters? What's the? I mean, honestly, how do you calculate your E-steps?
I do it in millimeters, actually.
So why were you saying the other day in inches on that one deal?
On
you
the
put
one
down
thing?
about inches, and I'm like, inches for E-steps? What the? You didn't even know you did that, did you?
This is so bad. This is not what I expected. Oh.
Okay, Calvin. Seriously, bro. Seriously.
Where's the
You gotta give up. You gotta give up this. You gotta turn it over and go to this, man. That's what you need. That's what you need, man. Millimeters.
Never.
Just think about how much easier it'd be, because it takes 10 millimeters to make a centimeter, right? Just think of how much easier it'd be other than trying to figure out, okay, 3/8.
0.375. No, you don't know how many times me and my friend Scott will he'll tell me something and he'll tell it to me in millimeters, and I have to jump into the Google and then change it to inches. It's really fun because he keeps working in millimeters and I keep working in inches. Yeah, no, it's great.
You gotta give that up, man. You gotta give it up. It's time. It's time.
Never.
You gotta remember 1/2 inch is the same as 13 millimeter. Just do it.
Never.
14 is loosely 9/16. Okay, maybe a little bit tighter than 9/16. You can make it work if you have a 9/16. Well, you'll round off the head of a 14 millimeter with a 19 or the 9/16, but you can hammer a 14 millimeter onto a 9/16. Oh goodness! Don't you mean 3/8? You mean 6/16? So a coworker today was asking me about how to read a tape measure. So I went and actually brought up a picture where it showed all the detailed, and explained to her how it works. And I'm like, but if it was metric, it's so much easier because you just go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Going downhill real fast.
Hey, I said this was going to be an intervention, man.
Where's the camera crew walking into my room right now with the interventionist and then like the sad and sorry music that they play when the person's going off to intervention on the show? I've watched it way too many times.
No, but seriously, why do you do it in inches?
Honestly, that's what I learned in, but I am genuinely trying to move my way into millimeters. I'm serious when I say that. I'm not messing with you guys. I'm dead serious. I am trying to move towards millimeters because, as Scott says, and it is true, it is easier because it's units of 10. It's just remembering to change the settings in Fusion. That's the hard part.
Okay, then the next week or next time we come over on our channel, we'll have an intervention with you about why do you scale down all your models to where they're like thumbnail size when they're supposed to be as big as a stinking printer.
I will say that is the drawback to me designing in inches is I was working on some big old parts to print on the Moai, and they're coming in millimeters, and I'm like, oh great, now I got to go to Simplify 3D and scale to the right size on top of angling it. Bingo. Fine.
So why do you do that anyway? While we're on the subject,
why do I use Simplify 3D? Because I spent $150 now.
No, why do you scale down the model? Like, okay, let's talk about the.
I don't. I don't. It's because I'm exporting in inches. It has to be scaled up by a factor of 2,540 to be correct for millimeters. So when I'm raw exporting the file from Fusion, unless it's already designed in millimeters, it's going to show up as really tiny because it's going to see the units as being really tiny. And unless you tell it to scale it up, it's not going to know the difference. Now, Simplify 3D is intelligent enough most of the time to go, this model looks really tiny. Do you want me to scale it up? And sometimes that's correct. Sometimes that's not. So
you got scaled up how many percent?
2,540.
Good Lord.
The upside is your file size is really tiny.
Yeah, I go and I import. So, okay, let's take it, for instance, that that model for that sticker hill for up at work.
Uh-huh.
You're going to send it to me, and it's like, where's it at? I don't even see it on the build plate anywhere.
I remember those days because you're like, which design this in? Inches? Oh my gosh, really?
I'll just scale it up really quick. Come on. join the land of the get away from the Imperial Army. It's just like in Star Wars, we learned the Imperials are bad. We learned that. Come on.
I've never seen Star Wars, right?
Well, it's time you learn that the Imperial Army is bad. Okay, you need to come to the resistance. Come. Let's join forces and let's take on the Imperials.
You do know that I saw Rick on Saturday, and he was wearing like a cool Star Wars hoodie thing with like the resistance side stuff on it, and he's going to come in the chat and totally whoop my butt for saying that. But yeah, that was fun.
Jordan's saying I'm treading on him. Oh, man. Calvin, I'm going to say it again. You have a Moai. Use metric. And he's a multi-maker. If I was a multi-maker, I would say, what is this rubbish you're trying to make me print? No. Dude, it does not compute.
You want to know something funny that I figured out with the Ultimaker? Actually, it's not funny, but something I figured out the other day.
Oh, man. There you go. A tape measure for you, Calvin.
Oh, my gosh. Only had $18 to spend. No, what actually happened is, believe it or not, the inside of the Olsen block is brass, and the problem is over years, and I'm talking years of on and off nasty filament printing, it's literally worn it from a circle to like an oval shape. I'm exaggerating it, but literally it has been ovaled out. So I recently realized that, because I'm like, why is my printer printing so bad? So I got a replacement knockoff block from Amazon coming hopefully on Thursday so I can get it up and running. But I'm like, this is just painful. So I think I'm going to do a video talking about how abrasive filaments wear more than just your nozzles out.
Oh, yeah. Abrasive just wear everything out. Did I ever tell you on my the A30, I actually wore out the filament sensor using that protopasta that you had me use?
Oh, yeah.
It actually wore a groove in the plastic. Just wore it out to the point where the filament sensor will not work. It can't detect the filament anymore.
Well, that's because you ran almost a kilo of protopasta copper through the thing, I think.
Yeah, in one shot.
Dude, that has seriously got to be the most epic print ever, especially considering how little time I had between when you mailed me that thing and when Maker Faire started. That thing is seriously nuts.
Did you ever weigh it? It weighs like almost a whole kilo, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, let's just put it this way. I couldn't wear the thing for the whole of Maker Faire because it was literally between that and my backpack. I think my neck was going to break. It was that heavy.
He's saying Jimmy's messing with the kilos again. See, he'll talk about kilos. He'll talk about kilos,
dude. But I love my kilos and my 3/4 kilos and my half kilos from Protopasta, 3/4 from Color Fab, and full-blown kilos from AMZ 3D. Just saying.
And his Arm & Hammer baking soda. Baking soda. I've got baking soda.
It's about as good as the dry ice story when we were going to do the smoke effect on set.
Oh, God. That was an epic fail, wasn't it?
That was such a bad stream, but I still love your line when you pull out the phone that Beth got for like $1 at Home Depot. So because Calvin's parents have disowned him at the end of this stream, here's his new telephone. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I do honestly think, though, we were starting to get a little bit loopy from all the CO2 that was being released by that, plus the heater. And we didn't even have the door open. That was bad.
Yeah, it was.
That was all kinds of bad.
Man. Jordan's saying I could print a new sensor housing, so I'll do that.
Yeah, Mr. Kill Science, dry ice, you got to be really careful with it, but that stuff is so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
So do you guys want to see some of the tight
What's
stuff
bad,
that I
Mr.
got?
Cross Science, is he's saying all this on my channel. I guess this is payback.
Oh, yes. Payback. Although the reality is I haven't even checked my numbers. I've kind of given up on it at this point. I'm not saying I'm not going to make videos, but I've given up on the whole check my numbers to see when I hit the magical 4,000 mark. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh well.
It'll happen. It's just a matter of time.
I know. The main thing is right now things are going to be a bit crazy because big announcement time, guys. I landed myself a part-time job in Sunnyvale as a CNC machine operator.
Nice. Congratulations.
I start Friday, which is awesome. So the place is understanding and flexible about my hours, because more or less I'm just coming in there to help with production when required or do troubleshooting of stuff, kind of being kind of like a jack of all trades guy, which I'm totally fine with. So that's really awesome. Some side money coming in. The only problem with that is I'm not fully sure what my schedule will end up being, but I'm thinking I'll probably be able to stream on Monday night still, because I'm probably going to be working from about 3 to 7 on Monday. So that way there's no point in getting off at 6 and getting stuck in traffic. I'd much rather work or just stick around the Sunnyvale area for about an hour and then head home in like 45 minutes versus leave an hour early and get home at the exact same time. Nothing gained. So,
so what days are you working down there?
Haven't fully figured my schedule out, but I'm definitely going to try and work Monday afternoons and Fridays all day. And then I might throw in Wednesday afternoons as well, because Mondays and Wednesdays I get off class at like 1. So I'll have to see about that. But I'm going to start working Mondays and Fridays, and then maybe roll some Saturdays in there if necessary, because the thing is the CNC machine is about 20 feet away, if that, from the assembly area. It's a small warehouse building. So the problem is if we're doing like really obnoxiously loud stuff, we try and not do that when there's a whole bunch of people working in there, because it's just annoying. So I'll kind of play it by how things work out for me and them, because I'm trying to keep my Saturdays free when I can, because that's when I go to Walnut Creek to do stuff on the Moai, and just having it free in general. So I'll figure it out, but I definitely am going to be working Fridays and going to try and roll it to a Monday, Wednesday, like 8 hours between those 2 days, and then maybe about 8 hours on Friday. So about 16 hours a week. We'll see. And they're flexible. So it's like if I'm absolutely slammed with school stuff, I can just be like, hey, I gotta, take Monday off so I can work on that stuff. But I don't want to overdo myself, but I also don't want to be like, wow, I could have really worked more hours this week and I didn't. So just kind of finding that balance between the two. But at least it's nice to have a slightly more steady source of income than doing random 3D print jobs that take way too long. So,
That's good. It's good that you're getting that, getting into a job like that, and as you spend more time doing it and more shops find out that you're there, before you know, you'll probably get sneaking sniped off by another shop and be offered more money and longer hours. And next thing you know, you'll be a full-time machinist. And that's what you're going to school for, right?
Sort of. I mean, well, the thing is, I kind of view it as the whole job thing, and I'll do once I get started, I'll actually do a video more talking about it a little bit. But the main thing is, it was pretty much like I just was like down there visiting them and talking CNC stuff, and the co-owner was saying how it was kind of frustrating, how it just seemed like, he'd love to do other stuff, but he has to, be there to keep the machine running when they're running parts out. And I was like, well, no pressure, but I've done CNC machining in the past, both creating fixtures and running parts and programming. And oh, it's interesting. So then like about half an hour later, he goes, would you be interested in potentially working here? I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you guys are willing to be flexible with my school schedule, because it's kind of, like this. He goes, well, and then just snowballed from there. So it's kind of like one of those cases of, I just offered because I'm like, you know what? Most places are kind of gun shy about hiring a CNC operator, because obviously when you're being put in charge of a $90,000 machine with a $5,000 alone probing system, you know, you want somebody who knows what they're doing. So, yeah, I'm going to start out kind of, you know, as like the loading guy and the running parts guy, which is perfectly fine by me. But definitely, they're like, okay, you know, would you be fine running errands to pick up stuff from the, you know, anodizer or tools? And I'm like, perfectly fine. I'm like, honestly, I've done all that stuff and more at my old job. So I'm like, I want to be flexible. I don't want to just be the CNC machine guy. I want to be able to do other things. So I can put on a resume. I was also an assembler. I was also, you know, a QC person, et cetera, et cetera. Just add more things to my resume, you know, all that stuff. So we'll see where it goes, but it's definitely something that I'm happy has happened. And it is nice though, considering that my school schedule is like at the time was all screwed up, but I'm like, you know what, there's a reason why it's the way that it is. And I have these days off in this funky order, but hey, I'm not complaining at the end of the day.
Hey, Paul, thank you for joining. Mr. Kara Science is saying Calvin was trying to get you demonetized, Jimmy. Kilos, probing tool.
Well, the cool thing
that's
is
awesome, though. I'm glad you got a job like that. Because, like I said, this is kind of what you've been going to school for.
In a way, yeah, because the reality is it's hard. Here's the biggest problem. Like I was telling them, I'm like, here's the biggest problem. You either start out as a literal button pusher loading parts and you make absolutely nothing an hour and the shop doesn't, and it takes you a long time to climb up the ladder to get to a point where you're the programmer or the manager or somebody in charge of the department and you're, you know, doing all the big stuff. It's not impossible to do. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but it takes a long time and the pay is not very great at the beginning and all that stuff. So to be able to do something where you're kind of more of a jack of all trades is a very, very rare and very, very, very privileged position to be in. So I'm definitely, you know, trying to make the most of it. And the cool part is also, when scheduling permits, I am allowed to run parts for myself out on the machine. Obviously, I'd supply my own material or we could work something out. But that's also really, really encouraging because the co-owner was saying, you know, when applicable, as long as it's not impacting, you know, your productivity or anything, it is cool if you do some machining videos because it would be cool to have videos of the parts being made. Maybe we could use it for promotional stuff or you could use it on your channel. I'm like, honestly, that'd be a really cool thing. So I want to get things going and kind of figure things out before I start like doing a whole bunch of videos with the machine or anything like that. But it's definitely very nice that they also offered, you know, when applicable, because I mentioned, you know, I'm going to school for industrial design. Or like, well, you know, if it helps you and it, you know, scheduling wise, it works out and you can, with our permission, use the machine off the clock. I'm like, oh shoot, that's huge. Absolutely huge. So I definitely was like, okay, this is big. Because the thing is, the reality is they don't do a ton of machining in house. They more have the machine for doing short runs of prototype parts, or if their production shops out of state can't produce things, you know, like there's a backlog, they get a whole bunch of orders in and they need X number of parts, they'll produce them themselves. So it's not like they're doing all the production in-house. Some larger components they do produce in-house because it's cheaper that way, but it's not like the machine's running 24/7, 365 cranking things out. So there is a fair bit of downtime that it has. So that is definitely cool. So I told them it's gonna be a while until I actually do that because they produce things in aluminum. I'm going to be mostly doing stuff in brass. So I told them it's going to be a while until I have enough stuff that I can justify, you know, taking the time to clean the machine out so we can run the brass so we don't contaminate the aluminum chips and that sort of thing. But I'm like, when that point comes, I'll discuss it with you guys and we'll do that. But that would definitely make my life easier for my train projects where I need to make custom brass underframes for it. And I'm working on a almost 12-inch long rail car that's partly going to be printed at this point, probably on the Moai, and then I'm going to machine the brass underframe for it. So that's pretty sweet. So yeah, it's like.
So what kind of machine is it? Is it a Haas?
It's a Haas VF4 SS with, let's see, what does it have? It has a 30+1 tool changer. So that means it can hold 30 tools in the tool changer plus one in the spindle because it has a swing arm so it can automatically change out the tools. It has the wireless intuitive probing system for both the tool head and the tools, which is about the coolest thing ever once you know how to use it, because you can tell it probe this corner of a part or probe this part in, and it will automatically, go from the center to the edge, drop down, go over, probe it. You definitely have to be really, really careful when using it so you don't break it. But oh man, that thing it's terrifyingly cool to watch. I'll dig up a video of the machine probing because it just defies logic when it works.
The Sakura Science Kilos probing tool under frame tool changer. You notice he has one hand down underneath the screen there. He's all, yeah, then this thing's got the probing deal. And it's just just an amazing machine. Yeah, Calvin's enjoying this. I can tell he's excited. I'm glad for you, man. No, I'm glad you're getting to work on a machine that you've been wanting to work on for some time. And I think you're going to. I got this gut feeling that company sees the value in you going to school for this stuff and sees you as a long-term prospect.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not going to say everything that I was told because I don't know if it's, I'm trying to, I'm waiting until I make the formal announcement, which will probably be sometime next week. But the thing is, it's like they were saying that they definitely, they try and pay. They're a small company, so they're not making bank and nobody's getting rich off of it, but they definitely try and pay as close as they, reasonably can to a living wage, which is really appreciated, especially in this era of every company trying to pay everybody as little as possible. It's definitely nice when someone's like, hey, we can't pay you a ton of money. I'm like, guys, seriously. I'm like, if you knew how little I was making at my old job, I think you guys would be freaked out. I'm like, I even told them I'd be happy to work for you guys even for minimum wage if that's all you could afford to pay me. So when they offered me more, it was like, oh shoot. I mean, just being honest there, for me, it's partly about making the money and it's partly about learning more and more that I can put into my design process. Mm-hmm. So it's a conglomeration of things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's cool though, but yeah.
Somehow I lost the chat. What in the world? That's really odd. Completely lost the chat.
I got it.
There. I had to go back and steal it back from the main page. There we go. That was weird.
Is your chat back?
Yeah, I got the chat back.
Oh, sweet.
Actually,
so what do you guys think?
Froze up because I didn't see any of these other messages on there. That's weird.
I was going to ask, what do you guys think of the lighting? I'm literally just using the ring light at about quarter power on my laptop right now. Literally, it is held on with one little Harbor Freight spring clamp, but I'm trying to get opinions on the lighting because I'm trying to test drive the ring light before the video comes out, hopefully end of the week.
Personally, I think it's dead on perfect at the moment. You don't look oversaturated, and it looks good.
I'm not so much talking about how the intensity is. I'm talking more just like the fact that I'm using the ring light to illuminate myself.
I think it looks good.
I think it looks good too, but I was just trying to make sure because, I mean, I'll put it this way. I feel bad about the video that I did with Danielle's photo postcard things turning out as dark as it did. The problem is when we were filming it, we thought we had enough lighting, and for some reason I had a setting on in the GoPro where it kept looking for the brightest thing and focusing to that. So that's the reason why when I was moving the camera, it kept freaking out. And like Mr. Carroll Science said, we really should have turned off the desk lamp in the room. I'm like, yeah, and or I had a ring light going. So I'm not a huge fan of the cool white of the ring light, but at the same time, that was all I could find at the moment. But I did have somebody making a suggestion about using like a NeoPixel or something, where you could, in theory, use the microprocessor to change the color temperature or even the colors. But that's a future thing. I'm trying to make like the most simplistic ring light possible, and I think I've kind of hit upon it. So we'll see.
Are you able to reduce the power to the light just a hair?
Oh yeah. How about that?
Go a little bit lower. Okay, say something.
How do I look now?
Just a hair higher.
That's what I figured. How about that?
There you go. That looks pretty good.
I can only see like this tiny little cube in the corner, but I got to say that these ring lights that I got off Amazon, I'll post my affiliate link down below. They are stupidly bright. And I'm not kidding when I say they are stupidly bright.
I know. Personally, I would have went with more of a warm light so that wouldn't be as harsh.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, this was all I could find at the time, and it's not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is.
LEDs, just remember, I got a really good soldering iron if you want to use it.
Well, this one, let me dig up the link for it. This one's actually a ring of super tiny LEDs that are encased in kind of like a silicone. So it works pretty good though. I like it because it's a slightly softer
See, Eddie's right. Now, this is the moment where you need to post your affiliate link on Amazon for these lights.
I just did.
And then you need to say, don't delay, buy today.
Don't delay, buy today, store.cdebgroup.com. And just like that, Teresa will come cruising on into chat like, what's up, people? Yeah, no, it's they're not perfect, but for what they are, they get the job done. And like I said, you might have better luck finding warm white ones. These are actually intended for vehicles though, so they aren't as picky about color temperature. But you could also maybe put a filter in front of it. Not fully sure.
But the whole idea, really thin, like a transparent yellow lens to put over it, and that would give it the warm effect.
For sure. The cool thing is you can also find like RGB ones. So in theory, you could probably mess with the color temperature as well, but they're kind of more expensive. So, but ultimately, to each their own.
So how is everything going at school?
It's going. In my product design class, we're building a gravity car, which is, it's interesting because, you know, as much as the instructor, you know, wants to see us doing innovative stuff, I'm definitely still of the keep it simple mentality, just because I know what's going to happen when we go to produce the thing. I mean, some people have come up with some really cool designs just as like conceptual stuff. But the reality is it's like, let's face it, guys, 95% of the people in the class don't even know what a welder is. I don't even know how well the instructor can weld. I asked him if I can TIG braze my parts. And the reason why is because I can TIG weld, but I like the look of silicon bronze brazing rod just from a purely aesthetics point of view. And the other thing is there's like one MIG welder and one TIG welder. And I figure if nobody else knows how to TIG, at least if I'm on a machine nobody is going to be using, I'm not going to feel pressured to get things done, or I'm not going to be stuck in line behind a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. So what I'm hoping to do is pretty much jig up all my parts on a wooden board, stick it in the welding booth, and just tack everything together, or even just do solid welds on the part and just call it done. because the reality is I just want to get this thing built. I'm intentionally not going for a ridiculously overcomplicated design. I know I'm not going to get probably as many points on like style or things like that, but at the same time, like I want to try and have a well-rounded vehicle. You know, you can dump all your points into this category or that category, but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I see a lot of people coming up with cool designs, but I'm just looking at them like there is no way you are going to be able to pull that off in the time frame. You know, just I don't say that to their face, but I'm just thinking that in my head, like that's really cool, but I really don't think that's doable.
Eddie says the jig is up. Come on, Calvin, laugh. Come on.
Oh gosh. But the cool thing is I did get in the mail the other day some 8mm. Ooh, blown out. Let me take it out. I did get some 8mm pillow blocks off Amazon to use for my gravity car. So those are pretty cool.
That's nice.
The bearings are pretty nice. Yeah, I think it was like $12 for 4 of them, which wasn't the cheapest. And I might need to go back and repress the bearings in because this one's definitely not in there straight, but we'll see. But the point is I'm going to use the pillow blocks and then lock my wheels on the axle. And then I'm going to use like an elastic spring motor. So I'm going to have either some springs or something elastic. It's wrapped around the rear axle. So then when you go to start the car, that's going to unwind as it goes down the hill to give it more takeoff speed. So I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad idea because it's going down a wheelchair ramp, but I want to have more initial momentum. So because you're also being judged on speed and distance. And I'm like, well, if I can put a pretty beefy spring motor in there, I could probably have a pretty sweet vehicle rolling down the ramp. So I still need to figure all that out, but I was telling a friend, I'm like, I want to get the frame built ASAP. And then I want to start testing the spring motor and going from there because I know what's going to happen is I can have a million drawings, but until I get that thing done and I get the spring motor installed and I actually see how it performs, that's when I'm going to know if this is going to even work or not.
Yeah.
So
cool. See, we have CNX Tech in the house. How you doing? Thank you for joining.
What's that?
So Ewan says his friend's project was a trophy. It looked simple, but they had to cut it up to get it to print. Wow. We had a situation like that, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
A year ago.
And I thought the copper inlay was going to be the hard part.
I know, man.
That was so worth it, though. So worth it.
I wish this print would would end before the stream ends. This is a pretty cool looking print.
Oh,
all it is, it's just a sample. It's a sample for Josh to try painting or staining or whatever. That's all it is. And I just picked out a coaster that was a Razer. What was it? Razer PC logo.
That one is pretty sick.
Yeah, and that's actually coming out really good. I didn't expect it to come out this nice. It's with that wood PLA.
Oh, nice. I'm staring at the photo that you sent earlier. That looks sick.
Crazy, isn't it?
Really crazy.
Did it have the design in it when I sent you that picture?
It was just starting, yeah.
Let's see if I can get a picture of this one now. It's on the front side. I got the back of it facing toward me. I'll wait until it gets over this way.
I'll be right back. I need to go check up on a print real quick.
Okay. Let's see. Paul's saying how you mix 3D printer. It's going good. I actually have a print going right now. Just about an hour before the stream started, I started this Matter Hackers Moonman printing. This is going to be I'm filming the time lapse for the video that will be coming out probably toward the end of the week. I was working on another video, getting it ready for tonight to release tomorrow. but this one I should have ready by the weekend. And then I was thinking about, we'll have to see how things work out. But Valentine's Day is actually going to be my 3-year anniversary of when I got into 3D printing.
Oh, nice.
I was really thinking about digging out my original printer, getting it cleaned up, and maybe do a live stream with it.
Dude, you totally should.
I'll have to see how much cleaning I got to do. And I don't think it's bad though. I think it'll probably fire right up. I haven't printed with it for a year? But I bet you that thing's so robust. I bet I can throw it up on the desk right now, not even level the bed, and I bet it'd kick out a print right off the bat.
Which one, the Meat Creator 2 or the Aluminum i3?
The Aluminum i3. That thing was my baby right there. Well, it's got the PC, the power supply on it.
The Aluminum i3?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be sick.
And I'm thinking about doing a video between it and the A10, the actual, just a regular A10, and just show the difference between this is what it was 3 years ago. This is what you can get now. This would cost $330. This one's like $199. Am I betting? Yeah, actually I am betting. I bet you would. $1. I'll take that bet. Let's do it. A spool of film that says it doesn't print right off.
I think it would work.
Yeah, those are fighting words. Do it right now. If I didn't have a video filming, you know what? Oh man, you're making me want to do it right now. What time is it?
9:20.
9:20. Let me check something real quick. Oh, it's on. Oh man, it's all dusty. Poor printer. Been neglected.
This is fun waiting for Jimmy to dig it out from the mountains of napkins, and holy crap, there it is.
My poor computer, my poor printer's all dusty. It's all nasty. What have I done to you? I've mistreated you for so long. You were once my baby.
Jimmy turns Louis Rossman now.
How did they hurt you?
Tell me, how did they hurt you, poor Aluminum i3? What terrible things did Jimmy Shaw Tippett do to you? Oh, did he stick you in the corner and let you get all dusty? Oh, that's just
Where
evil.
did they touch you at? They touched you inappropriately, didn't they? I knew it. They touched you inappropriately. Okay. Oh, wow. Pretty nasty right there. I don't know. I may end up having to give up a roll of filament here.
Hey, I'll bet you a Godfather at Nana's that it will turn on, and you might have to do a little bit of fiddling with like the flow and whatnot, but I'll bet you can fire that thing up, put some filament in it, and it'll work.
Let's put it this way: of all my printers, this one right here has been one of my most trustworthy ones. I know that sounds funny, but it is. Let's see if I can get that filament off of there. Oh, it's still got the glue from last time on it. Okay, so that was when I did the base for Jeff's trophy. That's how long. So that's been over a year?
At least.
You know what? That reactivated the glue. I'm not even going to put any new glue on that. I'm getting some faith here, man. I'm getting some faith here, man. Let's try this. Okay. Actually, I need a roll of filament.
Okay, and so for those who don't know what a Godfather is, it's this epic potato that Danielle can back me up on from Nana's Barbecue down in Chualar. It's literally 2 potatoes, and it's no kidding about like this long, loaded with, if you want it, sour cream, butter, cheese, meat, chives, more cheese, meat. Oh, it is so good. It is so good.
You ready for me to hit the power button?
Oh yeah.
Fans kicked on, screen's turning on. So far, nothing came up on the screen, though. Ah! It's come to life. Prepare. Preheat PLA. Let's go ahead and let that preheat for a little bit. Oh, let's get over here. Let's go here away. Come away. Get off me. It's heating up. That's a good sign. Nope, no smoke. So this one's got the dual cooling fans I put on it. It's got my original Z-Wobble brackets on it. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
My #1 video. I thought that one was going to be my video that would outdo all of the videos. And then I turned around and printed a hairy lion. Say, why didn't you print stuff off of Thingiverse? Because nobody cares about the stuff I make. Okay, Mr. Science thinks it's going to be out of level. He's got no faith. He's got no faith. But that's all right. You right, Calvin?
Yeah, I'm just keeping up with the chat.
What's going on in the chat?
All kinds of good stuff that you're missing out on.
Is anybody freaking out that I just wiped down the bed with alcohol and not put any new glue down?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay, so we're up to 190. That's enough for me to get this old filament out of here. Ah, come on. Am I going to have a clog? Do I have a clog? Maybe. Yep, I think I got a clog. Well, let's see. Grab some nippers here. Let's see if I can ram that clog out.
Ram that. Force it out, Jimmy. Do it.
I think I'm ramming it. I think it's working. Oh, yeah. Let's turn colors. Let's see here. That's not my original SD card in there. That's got the upper body. Let's go ahead and just do a 20mm cube and see if it prints.
Print to print.
It's doing its homing. Yeah, they didn't move too fast back then.
One eternity later.
See, that's the reason why I like the really nice nozzles, the Micro Swiss. Any clogs in it, they just go away. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's almost homed. It's getting there. You see my little wobble bracket there? See, it's wobbling back and forth.
Doing its job.
Doing its job. Because that's too cheap to buy different screws for it. Oh, look! Is it actually going down on the build plate? Oh, look at that! It is without leveling it.
Too bad you can't zoom the camera in on it.
Let's see. Can I zoom this camera in? Well, actually, do I have enough cord? I don't have enough cord. No. Yeah, there you can see it. Let's see if I can. Yeah.
It's working.
Now, what kind of filament do I want, Calvin? Let's see.
Got some AMZ 3D over there you could use?
See, that's what gets me about when everybody's like, "Oh well, I'm having all this problem with my bed leveling, and I need auto leveling and all that." It's like I've never had that much trouble with leveling the bed, especially when it comes to smaller machines. I can see bigger machines maybe having the auto bed leveling, but when it comes to these that are under 300 millimeters, I just do it manually. That's still such a cute little printer.
I love it.
No, Mr. Carroll Science, you don't have to. I was joking with you on that. Yeah, still prints like a champ.
That one's the aluminum i3.
Yep, I paid $330 on eBay for that. It was a kit printer. It took me 8 hours to assemble it on Valentine's Day. Beth had to work, so I went ahead and I did all my filming in one shot. Worked on it for 8 hours. Could not get the thing to print when I finished it. I had no idea how to set up the slicer. I had no idea how to do any of that. And that's one of the other things that just kind of gets you is what these a lot of the people who are new to 3D printing. They don't watch any YouTube videos. They don't go and read up anything on Google. They just go straight to a forum and say, hey, it doesn't work. Well, make it work.
I mean, I always am one to help out, but I agree. It gets really old really fast when you jump on the forum. And it's like, I was showing Ashley earlier something that was happening with one guy who just keeps constantly posting on the GTech forum, like super annoying. He's like, I can't get my printer to work. I'm like, so what's your settings? I'm running CFPLA hot. I'm like, I literally commented below that. I'm like, temperature, ... speed, ... filament, ... layer height, ... And then he finally gives the specs. And I'm like, I even said, look, without any more information, we can't help you. We can't. I was just like getting so fed up with the guy. I just kind of snapped on him like that. And I'm like, look, we can't help you if you don't give us any information. End of story. You know, go do some research. I mean, that's why I know it's going to come across as really crass and really crude, but that's why I want to do if you really can't do this, go return your 3D printer video. And I'm dead serious, because if you can't put in the time and the effort to research something, don't buy a 3D printer. You're just going to frustrate yourself and you're going to waste your money. And I don't say that to be rude. I don't say that to be mean. I don't say that to be discouraging. I say that just as an honest reality check. And I always tell that to people when they're interested in getting any kind of printer, reality check here. Can you do this? Can you do that? Do you know somebody who can do this? Do you know somebody who can do that? And I know people who are like, yeah, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn. And I'm like, cool, go ahead and buy one. Awesome. I know people who are like, not really. And I'm like, look, you know, you made your own decision. That's cool. Done. You know.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when you got a kit printer, I mean, you'd spend 8-12 hours assembling the thing because you got to put every nut, bolt, screw, everything together on this thing. And there was even a point on this where I even had to use a drill to drill out the metal because it was too tight for the rods to fit through. I came by using the drill, quite honestly, from the very beginning. But you know, you and the rest of them are going to, and Eddie's going to really get a kick out of that. But yeah, I honestly if you go back to my very first videos where I was putting this machine together, you'll see me using a drill so I could get these rods into it. You know, and honestly, if I had to do all over again, I could probably assemble this printer in a whole lot less time. But I had no clue what I was doing back back then. And then when I get it all assembled, I go to use it. I didn't know anything about slicing an STL file. And when I did figure out how to slice it, I sliced it, printing at like 120 millimeters per second. So it was so stupid fast. And that's when I first found out that I had these rings on my print. And you could honestly take it right up to the threaded rod here, stick it up against it, and it matched it perfectly because it wobbled just enough to where it moved that all the way up. And that's the reason why I came up with these things. And then that got rid of all the lines on the print.
Whatever did the trick. I mean, let me link to the thread that I did on Twitter of my friend's trains. But Verta Breaker made a really good point. He goes, there's many users on the G-Check forum that are only there to complain and they're not looking for help. Yeah. It literally seems like it's just Creality and Ender 3 fanboys going in there trashing it. And it's like, look, they're all the same machine at the end of the day. At their core, some of them are using higher quality components than they're not. But take a look at these trains that a friend of mine, mind you, this guy is at least in his 60s, if not 70s, has taught himself 3D printing and Tinkercad to design these trains. And the really smart thing is the guy is literally printing them as flat pieces. So like this sits flat on your bed, so it prints flat. So the amount of cleanup work you have to do is minimized. He's got all these little details in there, and the guy's even smart enough to chamfer the ends. So whenever he can, he designs these things flat. And he pulls out the trains for like the 3 of us over there, and we're all just like,
wow.
The quality of the stuff that he is doing on an Ender 3. I was telling Fran, I'm like, dude, seriously, these things are nuts. So I just took and posted up a batch of the photos that we had taken on the layout to the Facebook page for the train club. And people on there were just going nuts. Like, oh my gosh, are these things going to be for sale? And I feel bad for the guy because he was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to end up selling these or not. And then all of a sudden, like, everybody wants some. But I'm like, I told him, I'm like, if you need any help printing these things out, I got spare machine time. I can throw this on. So just saying. But, you know, I mean, it's like, I think I'm going to use that as an example in the future for, look, anybody can do this. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have the dedication and you want to put the effort into it, anybody can do 3D printing. It's just so many people don't want to put the time and the effort into it. They just want to pull it out and go. And it's like, it doesn't work like that.
I started out by watching all of Barnakley's videos. And then I watched all of Chuck Hillybuck's videos. He's the one I learned the majority of everything I know about 3D printing I learned from Chuck. And then I would just go and I'd just find random people on YouTube and try to learn it. And then, of course, you have these videos where nobody wants to talk. They just want to have music playing while they go and they type out on the computer what they're doing. And it's like, finally just get to the point where it's like, okay, well, the only way I'm going to learn this is learn it on my own. And you just take the time. Take the time, learn the slicer. If I do this, I mess up the print. If I do that, it works. And then just over time, you figure it out.
Oh, I know. I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is people don't realize the vast quantity of knowledge that is out there these days. I mean, you go back a couple of years when we got into 3D printing, there was nothing out there. Nothing.
I know.
Nowadays, there's tons of information. So I think I really want to also put in there that, hey, look, guys, when I started in this, yes, I bought an Ultimaker too, but there was not the depth of knowledge and the amount of stuff and the amount of people putting videos and things like that out there that there is now. In 5 minutes, you can find the answer to almost anything, ranging from a really simple answer to a really technical answer. But you can find something in between that at least gives you the general gist of what's going on. But the problem is people are like, oh, I can't look up what mid-temp heat bed error is. It's like, and I think I might even do that in the video. Like I'll type in a common problem and type it in there and go, this is your answer. Is it the most legible? No, but if you look a little bit more, you can probably find more things. Type in what machine you have. You'll probably find more information on it. Da, 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 da. But people just can't seem to do that, and it's really annoying.
That's one thing. If you go back on my channel from the very beginning, especially when I got into this printer, I had one rule, and that was every time I went into the room to do anything on the 3D printer, I turned on the camera and I recorded it. And I did it for myself, so I would know what I did. But I also did it so that if I made a mistake, other people wouldn't make the same mistake. And almost all my videos up and even till now, I'll record while I'm doing something. It's something stupid, and most of the time I don't even use those videos anymore. But I've got them just in case I ever want to go back and show this is how you do this or this is how you do that. But yeah, especially when I was really trying to learn how to do it, everything I did on the printer, I always documented it. No matter how stupid it was.
I'll admit I'm not as good with that because, time right now keeps getting smaller and smaller, but I know what you mean. I am going to do a video when I get my replacement Olsen block and showing what years of printing abrasive filament will do to your printer outside of just destroying the nozzle.
Yeah. That way people know what they're getting into when they print with abrasive materials. It's not just going to wear out a nozzle. It's not just going to wear and tear everything from the hob bolt, they call it, the part that's the little gear that pushes the filament through. It's got to wear the teeth off of that thing.
It could, yeah, definitely could. I'm more talking about the hotting components. Like if you've got an E3D V6, at least a 2.85 millimeter one, that aluminum barrel that the filament's riding in, it's soft. Carbon fiber or glass filled or whatever filament over time will wear that out. It doesn't have any liner. I've even worn out PTFE tubing with it. It is that abrasive. So, I mean, the problem is people think, oh, just put on I love the fact that E3Ds come out with their nozzle X, which I want to get my hands on, but why don't they apply that same coating to the heat break? Why don't they come up with a way to make a removable liner inside of their hot ends, so that way, make a hot end dedicated just for really nasty materials, maybe where it has a stainless steel liner that you can screw or set screw in there, so that way you can have a very, very smooth surface that a very rugged surface, that your filament can ride against, or maybe a removable Teflon liner or PEEK liner or something, because it's not going to be exposed to heat, but the idea is it's something to prevent the aluminum from getting worn out by the filament. So we'll see about that. I don't print as much abrasive stuff as I used to. I would love to get back into doing protopasta metals, but we'll see.
Just look at this printer. I never finished up doing the wiring on the back of it. So still got the tangle of wires on the back of the board. But I don't know if you can see it. I think this box is in the way. You see the screw right here? The screw right there goes down.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the Z end stop. And look, it's not even straight. It's just like but back at that time, that's how you did it. It's just a screw goes down, touches that switch. And now they got inductive sensors. Just crazy the difference in machines now.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. I mean, I personally still like the mechanical end stops, but that's personal opinion right there.
I do. I still like the switches like that. Actually, the A20 it still has switches like that as well. But the artillery, it's got the inductive. It's got the little, I guess they're magnetic or whatever.
Hall effect.
Yeah. This was my second MK8 extruder. I got my original one up here still. Back when I had all was going with all the longer nozzle throats. I didn't realize that back at the time whenever I tried doing that heat break one, I didn't think about putting a second nut up higher and keeping it away from the heated block. And that's what messed me up on that one. And I went over the top on this one. I had the two fans blowing. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but it worked.
Sorry if I'm a little bit in and out. I'm messaging G-Tech about a printer order for a friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, about that one?
Yeah.
They probably shipped it by now, didn't they?
They said they're really swamped with orders right now, so they should get it out within 2 days, which is fair considering they were gone for what, like a week and a half with Chinese New Year at least.
Oh, I can imagine they got a bunch of orders they got to take care of.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing I will say, and this isn't to bash G-Tech, but I will say it was a little bit frustrating. They didn't say anything on their website. Hey, we're going to be closed down for Chinese New Year. So I know that people, I felt bad for Emma on the page because a lot of people were complaining about how support was taking a lot longer. It's like, guys, it's Chinese New Year over there. China literally shuts down for New Year's. It is no joke, you know? So, oh well.
Hey,
it is what it is.
Can I tell you a secret?
What?
I still have my plastic on my screen. No, I never did take it off. I got Angus beat.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, goodness. What?
Don't do it, Jimmy. Don't do it. Don't fall for Elon.
Take that off now, Jimmy. But it's been on there for 3 years.
Don't
For
listen
3
to
years
Elon.
it's been on there. You want me to take off something that's been there for 3 years? That's hard. That's a hard thing for me to do. I don't know if I can do that. This thing right up here was my first design on Tinkercad. Because I always had my spool holder behind it up on a shelf. And so it'd feed through there so it wouldn't rub up against the aluminum. Take off my shirt then. Oh, heavens no. I'd completely blow out the white balance on this camera.
By rights, you would.
I make Calvin look like he's suntanned.
Gosh. You've not had the privilege of seeing what a white snowman I am.
The plastic, not your shirt. Good God, man. See that image in my head. In your head again. What? What's this image just popped in your head before? Are you getting ready to go rob a a 7-Eleven or what?
No, it is freezing in here.
Is it?
It's really cold in Daly City right now.
Yeah, it's already. I think it's already down in the 30s out here. This morning I went out to the car and everything was all frosted and ice on everything. Is pretty cold. And what's funny is I went to Yosemite and it was 31 degrees there, and it didn't feel near as cold as it did this morning when I went out the door.
It says it's about 45 degrees right now, which sounds about right.
Jim Smith, thoughts on drugs? Drugs are bad, okay?
It was funny years ago when I was out in Florida visiting friends. I was in the water in my swim trunks, and it was hilarious because my friend goes, "Oh, look, we found the snowman in Florida." And I'm like, shut up.
Can we get this Calvin guy out of here? I'm all about Jimmy. Oh, God. No, it's the Calvin and Jimmy show. You know, it's all about Calvin.
Oh, yeah. It's all about me.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to run it.
It's starting to fill in now. It's almost there.
I'm going to have to run into you. I'm
What's
pooped.
that?
I'm going to have to run into you. I'm pooped.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I think it's about done. Let's see here. 19.5 is going to end at 20. So, yeah, it's getting close.
Awesome.
$19.7. Take care, Paul. Thank you for joining.
Peace out. I'm going to go start another printer on the A10M real quick.
Okay.
But I do want to stick around to see it finish.
Just about done. Now, the funny part is that's supposed to be a 20 millimeter cube, yet it's showing 20.10 on the Z height.
Oh.
There it is. There it is, Mr. Carroll Science. One completed cube on a unleveled bed. Yeah, actually, that bottom layer turned out pretty good too. Yeah, it's probably off a little bit, but not bad.
It worked. That's all that matters.
Yeah. After, let's see, we tried printing that for Jeff. Well, we know it was what, in December of 2017?
Something like that.
So that was the last print I did on this. So that's, yeah, well over a year and a few months. Not bad. Oh, goodness. No, Mr. Carroll Science, you actually don't have to worry about that. I'm joking with you. I am glad it worked, though. I'm glad that worked. Common something or other has a question for you.
Oh gosh, what's the question?
It's the cube of Rubik. Little 20 millimeter cube. Oh, God. Have you ever thought about switching bodies with Jimmy? He wouldn't know what to do with all that weight. He wouldn't know what to do with that love machine.
Oh gosh.
Oh, goodness. Well, guys, let's go ahead and call it. It's been a good night. Thank you so much for joining all of us. I appreciate it. And we'll be over on your channel next week, Calvin.
Sounds about right. I'll keep you guys posted with scheduling. I know I feel bad. It keeps jumping all over the map here, but I'll see what I can do. We might have to start a little bit later, but I'll let you guys know.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
So until then, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.